Hello and welcome to Cryptids of Australia. As I promised in the last video, I'm returning to the world of cryptids for this week's video. Here is a topic that a lot of you, my viewers, have requested frequently over the past few years. Australia is a land of great beauty, mystique, as well as danger. The country has 9 of the 10 deadliest snakes in the world, some of the largest great white sharks ever caught, and the reportedly cursed Ayers Rock. However, it also is home to the majestic Kings Canyon, beautiful Great Barrier Reef, and a breathtaking Kakadu National Park. It truly is a land much like a rose, where it is beautiful but dangerous enough to keep wary. When it comes to cryptids, Australia doesn't disappoint, with quite a variety of types as well as deadliness. Before beginning, I would like to note that quite a few creatures found in Aboriginal lore that are considered cryptids find themselves in the realm of what is called Dreamtime stories. While these stories are quite interesting, the Dreamtime and the creatures found there deal with the Aboriginal version of the creation of the world and universe. Many of the Dreamtime cryptids are seen as creator beings, and being as how they aren't represented in the common terms of physical cryptids, I will not be mentioning them here. If you're interested, I do suggest you look them up for reference, but I may do a video about them in the future if there's enough interest in it. So without another moment's wait, let's get into this list, which will be in no particular order. Behringer. I won't go into too much detail about this since I covered it in a dinosaur cryptid video previously. For centuries, local Aboriginal tribes people told tales of a dinosaur-like being walking around the forest of Australia looking much like a Tyrannosaurus rex. This version is said to range in height from 25 to 30 feet and mainly hunts at night and has mottled skin. In some variations of the description, the being is said to also be covered in feathers as well. While many of you are familiar with the theory that dinosaurs had feathers, a recent conglomerate scientific study, as well as fossilized skin, points to the T-Rex not having them. This would mean the Behringer is a different species, if it exists. Whatever it is, it has been blamed for eating cattle from local ranchers. In ancient Aboriginal rock paintings, there have been found images of a T-Rex style creature that is claimed to still be roaming about. In 1950, a cattle rancher near Burketown woke up to find his animals had been left in a field, half eaten. He gathered a group of men with horses and hunting dogs and followed the 3-toed footprints left behind. Once they followed the trail to a swampy area, the dogs and horses became restless and refused to carry on. 2 of the men pressed further and came across the creature 30 feet tall standing amongst the trees. Both men decided it was best to leave it alone and return back home. Multiple sightings have occurred through the years up until, from what I can tell, 2002. Mainly people don't actually see the creature, but find its massive 3-toed footprints later in the day. One of the most common reports are campers feeling the ground vibrating as the creature walks about. According to legend, the Behringer lives in the mountains and only comes out at night to hunt. Bunyip. Here's another cryptid I have covered previously, and as such I will treat it much the same as the Behringer. It seems that there are 2 forms of the Bunyip, one being a physical creature and the other is a water spirit. I'm not sure where the division is, but for the sake of this video, I will focus more on the physical form. The Bunyip, also known as the Camprati, is said to live in the waters of New South Wales, and its name translates to evil spirit or devil. As with most of these cryptids, this being is found in Aboriginal stories, but there are sightings of the creature as well. It is said to be 12 to 13 feet tall, covered in dark fur with the head of a dog with a duck bill. Other oddities include the tail of a horse, long tusk-like teeth, and it moves about with flippers. However, there are quite a few variations to that description depending on the story, which can add an alligator head or a creature that resembles more of a bird. The Bunyip is said to eat women, children, and livestock in one bite if they get too close to the waters that it calls home. Like the Behringer, many stories state that it will leave the water to hunt for prey during the nighttime. It is worth noting that in July of 1845, giant bones were found near Geelong, which were said to be those of a Bunyip. Drop bear. Okay, I know I'll get a little bit of flack about this one, since many see it as a hoax animal, or that along the lines of the American jackalope. But if I'm talking about Australian cryptids, why not add a bit of a fun one? it doesn't all have to be serious around here. Although it has been found that rabbits have grown a form of antler as a deformity, so maybe there is hope for this one as well. For those of you who have never heard of this creature, it takes the lovable koala and turns it into a crazed killer. It is said to have orange mottled fur, sharp teeth, is over 4 feet long, and can weigh as much as 260 pounds. This massive bear is said to wait in the tree branches and, as the name implies, drop down onto the heads of their victims below. While this vicious creature is known to feed primarily on animals, it has been known to attack humans as well. They seem to especially target people who aren't from Australia. It is said that the only defense against an attack is by putting something sharp in one's hair, such as a fork or screwdriver, so the bear impales itself on it when it drops down on its victim. Although, something weighing 260 pounds falling on your head might not prove pleasing results either. Others claim spreading Vegemite behind one's ears provides a form of repellent, but none have successfully tested this theory out. Mulger Wink. Not much is known about this cryptid outside of the Aboriginal folk tales. This creature is said to live in Lake Alexandria and the Murray River, which are both fresh water. Most descriptions state that it is a giant half-fish, half-human creature, much like a mermaid or merman, but it has a taste for human flesh. It is said that this cryptid likes to eat children who stand too close to the banks of the river, which being that the Bunyip does the same thing, that would make me wonder which one was actually the culprit. Legend states that if you see a clump of seaweed floating in the rivers, to stay wary, since that is where the Mulger Wink is hiding. As I previously stated, Dreamtime creatures would be excluded from this list. I must include it, since there is a report from European settlers where an actual being was encountered. The story goes that the captain of a steamship saw 2 giant hands clasping onto the side of his vessel, and even though the Aboriginal people aboard the ship warned him not to shoot it, he proceeded to shoot and kill it. As punishment for saving his ship, the captain developed large red boils all over his body that led to his death 6 months later. Since that time, many ships that have been wrecked were blamed on the Mulger Wink. And see, this is why I add ones like the drop bear, since things got serious very quickly. Hawkesbury River monster. Here we have quite an interesting one that is basically the Australian version of the Loch Ness monster. The Hawkesbury River is located near Sydney in New South Wales. Actually, a lot of these cryptids claim this area as home. In the 1800s, settlers became aware of this being via 3,000-year-old cave paintings showing the creature, as well as local Aboriginal men and women imparting tales of loved ones being attacked or eaten by what they called the Mulger Wink or the Merriler. This creature is said to look exactly like a plesiosaur and is about 78 feet long. While for the most part Scotland's Nessie is docile, this cryptid is quite the opposite. In the 1980s, 2 fishermen were out on the river in an aluminum boat when they came across the monster. They claimed that the creature abruptly surfaced underneath their craft and it caused them to be launched into the air, throwing them 9 feet. Other not-so-friendly tales claim that boats are frequently found adrift, with their passengers missing, or in many cases, only the wreckage of ships are found. To this day, sightings come in frequently, and it nearly has the fame of Nessie from avid monster hunters who watch the waters daily just to catch a glimpse of these elusive monsters. For the sake of time, I'm going to end this episode here and wrap it up next week with 5 more Australian cryptids. I promise you won't be disappointed if you choose to join us on this Australian adventure when we continue it next weekend. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this, and if you're feeling particularly generous, could you also give this video a like as well? With that, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.